Hey guys, welcome again to sketchyGOichie. I'm your host, Roger Andrews. I'm the illustrator, designer of these pieces that I am putting forth on the YouTubes. Hoping you guys are getting a kick out of them. Hope you're enjoying them. To that end, I'd love to have some feedback and some response. Of course, you can post in the comments, and I will reply as soon as I can. In addition to that, I got an email. It's of course sketchygoichie@gmail.com. If you want to send over some images, I'd love to give you a little critique. If you want to partake in some of my certainly not infinite wisdom, but I have some kind of knowledge in the art of sketching and creative drawing, and I'd love to share whatever insights I may have directly. If you like, I could probably post them in these videos and kind of do a live critique. I've noticed there are some artists on YouTube that do a job of doing that, and I think I certainly would love to have had that kind of direct access to some artists that I admire. And whether you admire me or not, hopefully you do if you're watching this, I definitely would love to kind of share and help you advance your art as well. And so to dive into this one, it's just Venom, my version of him, really sort of extreme and cartoony version of him. And I've got that sort of that over-exaggerated tongue coming out of those over-exaggerated teeth and mouth. And there's a little teeny kitty cat who I'm going to kind of ink in at any moment. In terms of what I'm using the Procreate as an app, the iPad Pro as a tool. Additionally, I'm using the Apple Pencil to help along with the render. And I've got many videos that I'm going to post, have posted, and will continue to post about Procreate, the app, and the usage of it, and all my different settings and brush tools and all that kind of stuff that I think is helpful if you're learning the app, certainly, and maybe even if you already know the app, it might be kind of cool to see how another artist tackles handling technique and handling different brush tools and sizes. And I'm always open and looking around the internet for, particularly on YouTube, for other artists and their process. I find it immensely entertaining, and B, there's always a gem. There's always a little nugget of wisdom that artists kind of, and I'm really happy that artists are generous enough to kind of share their process. It's a tremendous resource, and I'd love to be a part of that. So, standard process for this, guys. It's super loose sketch, which you saw early on. I lay it out that sort of purpley color background, and then in doing so, I thought, obviously black on top wasn't going to be as easy to see. So I did the loose rendering in white and kind of lowered the opacity of it so that it kind of it wasn't so overpowering. And then I created a layer on top of that for the line art, which I did my inking in dark, super dark gray. And of course, the brush tool I use for that is using the technical pen when I'm doing the more refined inking, which I have altered quite a bit to make it so it kind of is a tool that it's got a comfort level now because I've rendered it with it so often. I think that's a big part of the brushes. I think a lot of times people will use a brush and it doesn't quite react the way they want, and they're like, well, let me scour the internet for brushes that will do all the work for me. And the reality is you gotta kind of learn it. Even if you do buy a really cool brush online from that an artist has created, you're still gonna have to work it. You're still gonna have to apply a little bit of you to make it really effective as a tool. All right, so that line art layer, and then I did the white of his that icon, that sort of spider-like icon on his chest, and then I believe I of course filled in a flat color layer, and then obviously at this stage I'm at the sort of the render, the sort of the little details, the highlights and the shadows and the little effects. You can see me kind of adding a little shadow there on top of the white to kind of give that some depth. It fits the depth of his body and his face. just by adding that. And of course, some little white highlights on the little kitty cat sitting there on the top of his tongue. And then of course, I wanted to play with the opacity of that sort of like drool that's coming off that gnarly tongue. And so I selected that little area out and then created its own sort of a drool layer and rendered it as such. That's how I'm able to kind of manipulate the opacity of it. And I thought he was kind of floating in space. So great little trick, guys, is to add a little drop shadow onto your character. It will literally ground that character. You know, of course, if he or she is on a surface, or it is on a surface, it definitely grounds it. And of course, my final touch is that outer outline, which I just do with a little more of a consistent monoline, and then lowered it back in opacity, played with the contrast, and that is that Venom, gnarly Venom tongue. So, again, guys, please subscribe, leave comments. You know what to do. sketchyGOichie. Live your moment. Happy sketching, y'all. Peace.